this lovely Sunday, November 26th. I'm going to be bringing y'all I guess you could say, a market forecast for the last week of November going into December. I'm not going to go over everything in the market. I'm going to go over dollar, gold, EU, and the NASDAQ. So let's get right into it. Let's make this a 10-minute video. Let's get in and out. So here on gold, as you can see on the monthly chart, we are pretty damn bullish. Pretty bullish. As you can see here, we had a rise, a pullback, and a rise. This now makes this a order block. This order block has been traded into. It did not close below this, so we are still bullish. If we would have had a close below this pullback, that would have been a market structure shift back to the downside. But since we respected it and closed back above it, we are going to target these all-time highs here on gold very soon. Dropping down to a weekly. As you can see, we've made displacement up. We've came back down. We've tested one of our fair value gaps and we've moved on from it. We've also closed to and through this fair value gap, making it an inverted fair value gap. So what I would like to see over the next couple of weeks with this pair at least, we're bullish. So regardless, we're looking for buy setups. But what I'm looking for is a break, a retest to prove that this is a inverted fair value gap before we get to the all-time highs. Now, this is just context in the market. Now let's get to the daily chart so we could kind of see what we're going to trade this week. Weekly, I do believe we're going to come and snag the liquidity around 2010. Maybe tap into this order block right here, this down closing candle, or this up closing candle before we get another down. The bottom of this is considered an order block. So I think we might come and test this order block, grab a couple orders before we kind of, displace back down to the downside. I do have the range marked off of this whole entire move, 50% in the 61.8. It does line up with a daily fair value gap. So this is a high level. This is a high area of interest that I would like to watch. Let's put an eyeball over here. Go back. We want to watch that for sure. This is going to be a level that we're going to come back and test very soon. But for the week, I do believe we are just going to be bullish for probably about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Wednesday pullback, Wednesday or Thursday pullback, and then Friday, continuing on to the next week, we'll get back into our bullish stance. But I do think because we are about to take highs, normally when we take highs, we trigger a whole bunch of buy orders, and we're going to run those buy orders below their stop losses. So I do see us coming here, triggering all the buy stops, like all the buy orders that were here, triggering them, taking them out before we continue up to all-time highs. So let's zoom out real quick. But that's what I see for gold. Gold forecast, market forecast this week, taking liquidity, coming back down. I do think we will come fill some of these fair value gaps to close out the end of the year before we continue bullish. Now, going along with gold, let's go straight in the dollar. Dollar, to me, is very, very bearish. To me, it's very bearish for two simple things. So as you can see, we have been in a uptrend. Now let's look into the market where we're at right now. As you can see, we've had displacement. We had a big move up. Big move up. We left a couple fair value gaps on the monthly chart. We've hit our level, which if I go back right here, was a fair value gap in the bottom of the order block. This is a monthly order block right here. Okay. That's a monthly order block. So price came, it tapped into the fair value gap that was up here, the order block, and it displaced to the downside. Now, when we got to the downside, we traded to this fair value gap, respected it. We came back up to this fair value gap that was left. We respected it, so that means we broke down. Now, this little fair value gap right here was a bullish fair value gap. This should have held. This did not hold. So on a monthly, I'm potentially very bearish because we did close through this bullish fair value gap. And what else? What else was I going along with that? Nothing else on the monthly chart. That was it. And then on the weekly for dollar, as you can tell, we've respected this order block right here. This up closing candle, we've respected this. Nothing has closed above it. And we got displacement to the downside. So maybe this week is the week we get our slight pullback before we carry on. Let's look at daily. In daily, well, on this whole entire range, actually, we are kind of at that 50 to 61.8 zone. So I'm not going to be looking for anything crazy because we can potentially bounce out of here. As bearish as I think we are on dollar, we could potentially bounce out of here. If we do not respect this fair value gap right here, if we close through this, then we know we're bullish for sure. But if we come up here, respect it, and then come down here and close below this one as well, oh yeah, we already know we're coming back down to this monthly fair value gap, as well as testing some of these equal lows back down in the 90s again. So let's go down to the daily one more time. On the daily chart, we did displace. We had our fair value gap. We came and tested it. Fair value gap came and tested it. We left the daily fair value gap up here, but we're so far from it, and we've had multiple legs down. Like this was accumulation. This was our break, our retest, displacement. Now I think we're going to accumulate some more before we continue on down on dollar. I'm very bearish on dollar for some reason. The charts just look like it. There's a lot of structure that needs to be taken care of down here. We'll just roll right into EU because EU is in reverse of dollar. So here's dollar, and then EU. It's literally the opposite. But on the monthly chart on EU, we had a monthly fair value gap that was respected. It gave us this push down. We did hit our level that we were looking for. So that being this liquidity / order block, they took that. There was displacement back in the opposite direction. We had a fair value gap left here on the monthly. We didn't quite get down here to test it. This right here would be our change in character. So if we break this at, what would that be? 10,020, basically. 21. Once we break that, we know that we're clear to get back up into some of this liquidity, preferably this monthly fair value gap. On the weekly chart, we did create a fair value gap last week, so I am expecting a slight pull before we continue up. We grab a little bit of liquidity here. continue up. But remember, if dollar is down, EU is going up. So remember, work those in correlation to each other. And then like same with gold. Gold moves in opposite correlation of dollar as well. When dollar's going up, gold's going down. When dollar's going up, EU is going down. And vice versa. Now that dollar's going down, EU should be going down. That's why I have it marked off right here on my watch list. Let's go over to NASDAQ real quick. NASDAQ is kind of, it's purple for a reason. I'm not really sold on a buy or sell quite yet. On a monthly chart, we have traded to and through this monthly fair value gap right here. So turning this, what would lead me to believe a bullish context in the market. I do think we will come and hit all-time highs very soon. We do have a little structure here on the lower time frame around 16,400. But as you can see, we've respected multiple fair value gaps on the monthly. This is what gave us this move, caused displacement. This one came, and we recently tapped in. This is November. So what I would like to see is the month of December, another displacing candle that comes up here, grabs liquidity. Now we are at all-time highs. So this is new territory. It's new area for us. We don't know if we're going to grab this liquidity right here and immediately reverse, or if we're just going to carry on to 18, 17,000. We don't know. That's what we're going to see. We're going to sit on our hands and be patient. On the weekly chart, as you can tell, we had a weekly fair value gap that fell in a monthly fair value gap that respected. It gave us this next move that caused displacement as well, leaving weekly fair value gaps. But I don't think we're going to test those until we get some more liquidity to bring down. That's why I do think we're going to hit our, where is it at? I guess it's on the daily chart. I do think we will hit this little fair value gap right here. It's very small, around 16,300 and 16,287. I think we will snag that, and then we'll end up displacing back down to the downside for some type of pullback, because we're in all-time high territories. Like we're damn near within $1,000 of all-time high, so we're on high alert. We're on lookout right now. But that is basically like where my head is at with the market in forecasting wise. Now I know on a monthly chart it's going to take a year for some of these things to take place. On a weekly, couple months, daily, couple weeks. That's cool. I use the higher time frames for my bias and my confirmations on what I see on the lower time frames. And you want to be in sync. If we're bullish on our higher time frames, why take sales on our lower time frames? Those are going to be baby sales. You're picking out crumbs out of the market, when if you can get on the right side of the market, you could hit buy. If you know your higher time bias, you damn near can look at the chart and hit the buy button or the sell button in reference to your higher time frame and win. If you don't know your higher time frame bias, it doesn't matter. You're gonna lose no matter what. You could have a best setup, a great buy setup, but if we're bullish or bearish, it doesn't matter. You're gonna lose. Higher time frames win everything. But that's all I'm bringing y'all today. Contact Bag FX with another one for y'all. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do whatever you do. I don't own you. Y'all take care.